And so we moved to Dallas, and I did not have a job there. I ended up finding a job. No one was hiring. And so I ended up working for Marshall's as a customer service person.
Wow, that's incredible.
You know, I actually, my office was right here in this room. It used to be an old dining room, and at one point there were 4 of us sitting here working all day long. But to me, it's, you know, it's really about, you know, making other people happy, making the clients happy. When you know you have clients that you see 10 years later, and they're like, I still love what you did for me, no matter how small or big, and then you remedy it. Yeah, I think it's more about how you handle it versus whether or not it happens. Like, it's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna make a mistake.
Hello everyone, welcome to Creative Blueprints. Today we are here with one of my latest favorite designers here. And what is his name? Hello,
Remy.
baby. Hello, you're
And
here
Remy.
also for the interview. So we are here with Amy Jameson. Welcome to Creative Blueprints.
Thank you so much, Mitzi.
Thank you for accepting the invitation. I met you during our trip in Spain, during the Cosentino trip, which was like super fun. And it was a pleasure to meet you and yeah, just like know more about your company. Now I'm following you on Instagram and I can't believe how many good stuff you can find there. You have an incredible story behind your company. So I would love that you can share with us a little bit more about yourself. I would love to start this conversation and just knowing more about how many years of experience you have, why you started in the design industry, why you decided to be an interior designer, which is like the most important thing, and yeah, and one more.
Yes.
What is your happy place? It can be like a restaurant, a place, whatever.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. So where shall I start? In the very beginning?
In the very beginning.
So how did I start in design school? How's that? How did I choose design? I grew up in a small town in Ohio, a smallish town in northern Ohio, and I came from a big family. So we had a choice of 2 universities. And if we chose one, we had to live at home. And if we chose the other, Kent State, then I got to live at school.
Okay.
And I just had to work to pay for my room and board and all that. So being a young independent, I want to be on my own, I chose Kent. And the reason that made it an easy choice for me and my parents to accept was they had interior design.
Okay.
And so I liked to, I was always a busy person. I liked to do things with my hands. I was a hands-on learner. I did not love being in an environment where I was sitting still and just listening. I like to be doing. And so we went through first year design school. We had, as part of the interior design program, we went through 2 years of architecture. The lab classes where we built models and did all the things with the first year architecture students. And I really loved that environment, building and creating. And yeah, so I sort of kind of fell in love with being able to be creative.
Nice.
And independent. So
yeah, that is pretty important. I mean, open a new company is always like trying to be like independent, and it's not easy. But
Yes.
yeah, and what happened next?
So I started working for a designer in Ohio, and I worked for her for a couple of years, and I learned a lot about what it was like to work for someone, the good things, the bad things. And shortly thereafter, another friend of mine and I decided to open our own business, like maybe a year out of school, or 6 months out of school. And so we were doing small residential design, some light commercial stuff, and then my husband and I ended up moving to Texas for work, for his work. And so we moved to Dallas, and I did not have a job there. I ended up finding a job. No one was hiring, and so I ended up working for Marshall's as a customer service person.
Wow, that's incredible.
And then just waiting to, kind of find my niche. I did a few little things while we were there, but we didn't stay in Dallas long. His uncle decided that we were not Dallas people and we needed to come to Austin. He said, you guys are Austin people. So I was in the process of trying to enroll in grad school, was going to get my master's in design, and I had been accepted to UT North Texas, and then when we moved to Austin, I had transferred to Austin, and I was going to go to school at UT and get a master's in architecture, but we didn't have jobs, and we ended up going back to Ohio for a summer, and my husband worked at a tennis camp, and I made slushes for the summer, and we saved enough money to move back to Austin, and I enrolled in school, and we started looking for work, and I ended up finding a job in corporate design for a company that I loved. It was Laura Ashley, and you would not really think of that as being super creative and all of that, but it was really, really fun. I met a lot of amazing people, and I really enjoyed the corporate design world. They were setting up a corporate an interiors program and hiring designers, and we were helping set it up, and it was wonderful.
That was back in?
That was in 96, 97.
Okay.
And there was a process, I think I told you a little bit about in Spain, and there was some hierarchical trouble in the company, and needless to say, unfortunately, it ended up closing and going out of business for a long time. So I was let go in January of 1998, and in that 2.5 years I'd been with them, I had a pretty decent amount of clients, and very loyal, wonderful people, and when I told them I got fired, they were like, what are you gonna do? You can't leave us. Like, we're, in the middle of projects, and there was no one to take over. And so with the encouragement of my husband, and he's like, just open your own business. And so it was not something I had planned on doing, but ended up being what I did. I had to give up grad school to keep working there, because, when I was back then, it was like, you either go to school or you work. You can't do both. Or, well, you can, but my particular company I was with was not, you have to do one or the other.
Wow.
And but it worked out. It worked out fine. And, I thought about going back to school at that point, but, then I was busy, and,
Yeah.
So really, it was just sort of a leap of faith, just sort of jump in with both feet and don't look back. I had a lot of really supportive clients, a lot of wonderful people that I'm still in contact with today, have done multiple houses for them. And they were all very encouraging. And so I just, went down to the city office and filled out some paperwork and started the company.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's Jameson Design Group now?
It is now, yeah. We started out as Jameson Interiors.
Okay.
We were doing mostly interiors, although, it's kind of funny going to school where I did a lot of, we did a lot of architectural stuff in the beginning. You kind of learned all those different trades, and, not like you learned all of it, but it gave you a taste of everything. So I was doing remodeling, even back then, working with some different builders. I was working in College Station, in Houston, in San Antonio, in Austin, and yeah, it was just me, and I had another a friend of mine who I worked with, and then 3 of my peer group, my designers that I've been friends with for a long time, we decided to get an office together, and we had an office downtown on 5th Street, and we shared an office for about a year together, and we all shared a bookkeeper, someone to help us out as like a design assistant, and it was great. We had a lot of really great, sometimes we collaborated on projects together. We had a lot of fun, and we worked really hard, and then we were all kind of the same age and the same stage of life, and all started having children, and I got pregnant, and at that point we were building our first house down in Kyle, and so I decided to move my office there. I wanted to be at home and kind of work part-time, and I was fortunate enough that we were able to do that, and my bookkeeper helper, she lived near me, so she and I worked together for 3 or 4 years together, and then I kind of worked part-time, and we moved here to this house in 2008, and then I was hiring designers then, and then in I think 2010, 11, somewhere in there, I had 2 designers, and then Darby started with me in 2015. I hired my first architectural designer in 2013 maybe, and so we really started doing a lot more, sort of holistic projects. I really enjoyed the idea of having a team that we brought interiors, architectural design, because I really felt like, especially with remodeling and projects like that, you really get the best design when you're collaborating with both of these different professions. And I started a team, and then Miguel joined us in 2017, I believe, and 2018, somewhere in there. And we've been, working strong, and then, we kind of go pick up some extra staff. We get super busy, and, but we have a really tight group and have a lot of fun working together. And, I actually, my office was right here in this room. It used to be an old dining room, and at one point there were 4 of us sitting here working all day long. And at that point, my girls were in high school, and they were, it's kind of like, Mom, this is getting a little weird, you gotta, you need to branch out, you need to move on. And I think you get so comfortable, and then the idea of taking on, more overhead and things like that, it can be a little nerve-wracking. And but we, it just kept getting busier and busier and busier every year. So we moved into our office downtown, and we've been there for 7 or 8 years now.
Wow.
So it's like time just flies. And I mean, sitting here thinking about it, when you asked how long had I been doing this, and when I founded the company, it was February 1st of 1998. And then although I'd been wanting to change the name for a long time and kind of revamp the website and do all of those things, all of that goes to the back burner because we were just so busy doing everything, and I'm a hands-on person, so it's hard to sort of step back and say, okay, it's time to manage now. It's time to. So COVID gave us that opportunity a little bit, especially when we had to everybody had to shut down and go home for a little bit. And so filed some more paperwork, officially changed the name, revamped the website, and really it was more to, let the world know that we weren't an interiors firm, and we hadn't been for a long time, but because we're a word of mouth company, all of our business, almost 100% of it comes from word of mouth. And so they all knew what we did, so they would refer us to other people for, oh yeah, they do it all. Don't, And so,
that is like trust in your clients because they are like just referrals, and
yeah,
that is incredible.
yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, how many people is in your team right now?
Right now we have 4. There are 4 of us right now, and we have 2 senior designers, 1 senior architectural designer, 1 senior interior designer, myself, of course, and then we have a junior interior designer with us now.
Cool.
And so, yeah, it's nice. It's really nice.
It's a cool. I mean, I met Miguel, that is the architectural designer.
Yes.
And then Jerby, that is one of the senior designers. And so it just feels that it's a pretty nice team working behind the company. And then I knew a little bit more about your story during our trip, and I was like, you completely can be in my podcast because you have an incredible story, and everybody is just like thinking that opening a new business is just like super easy, and just like try to find the good people to be part of your team.
It's the hardest part.
Because you said that here was your office before.
Yeah.
But we just to give you a little bit of background, we are in your house.
Yes.
So
it did not look like this back then.
So yeah, we are in your house.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just like, I don't know, if I feel that when somebody is in your house and is working with you there, it's like it's part of your family at some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like a different environment of work, and yeah, that for sure. I think that do you feel that impacts in the way that you're working with your team currently?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think you know when you have people in your home in general, and just when I work with people, all the designers that I've had work for me, whether, you know, I've had some great designers work with me, and, you know, they would move, you know, people move on, they get married, they move out of town, and they all sort of become this extended family. And, you know, one of the biggest things about having a good firm and having, you know, getting those referrals is the team behind you, because you're only as good as the people that you have with you. And because a lot of times they're doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and, you know, you're out, you know, meeting and sort of pulling the people in and bringing the clients in, kind of the face of the company. But we all work together. And, you know, I watched Darby came to me. She wasn't married yet. She got married. She's now had 2 babies, and, you know, Miguel and his wife are here, and it's great. And then, you know, being able to sort of celebrate them and celebrate all their hard work, and being able to take them to Spain, you know, that was really big. That was a really huge thing for me, to be able to thank them for everything they've done, and you know, for all the work that we continue to do. It's you know, we have a really good vibe in the office, our whole staff, and, you know, we have a good time when we're there.
Fantastic.
And
yeah. And what is your happy place?
My happy place. My happy place is being outside. You know, in a specific Big Bend is the national park is a very happy place of mine. But when I'm not working, I'm usually outside, working, gardening. You know, get my hands dirty.
That is fantastic.
Those are the things that's what I would really like to do.
Awesome.
Just be outside. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, as many of you know, the dynamic here is that we have this little cube with some questions for you, so we can know and get into the details of your story. Okay. So, are you ready for the questions?
Sure.
Let's go for it. Let's go for the first one.
All right. What inspired the creation of your company firm, and what led you to choose that particular name? Well, we kind of know that already. So I got fired. So that inspired me to create my company. And what led me to choose my name? You know, I don't know. Jameson's a good name. And a lot of people, you know, Jameson, oh, like the whiskey, yes, just like the whiskey. And, you know, so it was, I mean.
It sounds very professional.
Yeah.
And I'm like, for an interior design firm, I like it. But do you have like any trouble like putting your name there, or?
No, I think, you know, one of the big things is changing that name, Jameson Design Group. I think it makes it more, a little less personal in a way. It's, that's a good question. But I used to feel that way, like it was more about my name and me. It was one of those where we just morphed it into a group, because it really is, we really are a group. It's, we all work together on every project. Even the littlest ones will bounce ideas off each other, talk about little details. And
Do you do only residential or also commercial?
we do light commercial, what I say. So we do tenant finish out. We've done multiple doctor's offices and law offices, and did a room at the heart hospital. So we've done a lot of different things over the years. The bulk of what we do is residential, but we've done several dentist offices.
I mean, also like the design group, like kind of, I don't know, like put together like the two worlds, like the residential and the commercial. So it's like everything that is involved with the design, we can do it.
Yes.
So that is a good name.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. The second one.
Okay. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced as a business owner in the construction industry? I think challenges, obviously being a woman, I think a lot of people, and then people my age, where we started our companies, 27 years ago, I think that was probably a bigger thing 27 years ago than it is now. I feel like we've come a long way. But I think in the beginning, that was a bit of a challenge, especially being on a construction site. A lot of people didn't take you seriously. And, but you have to be confident. But I think I would say that was a challenge in the beginning. I don't really see that now as being a challenge. At least I'm sure there is some challenge, but I think after doing it for a long time, I think it's changed. I think the industry is changing, which I think is great. Especially with some of the new, women-led construction firms in the city. I mean, it's fantastic. I think learning how, you have to learn different things, more management, being a business owner, learning the management side of things, that it's really more than just having good ideas or being a good designer. You really have to be a good people person and a good people manager. And I think probably those are some bigger challenges that, business owners would face.
All right, so the next question.
All right. Gotta pick a good one here. Let's shake it up. Let's see here. Can you describe a moment when you felt you truly made it in your career? Honestly, I think for me, it was being able to take Miguel and Darby and their families to Spain. I mean, being able to give back, that felt really, really good. I mean, that was sort of, I would say that's one of my greatest accomplishments, being able to share that and being able to, share all of that and touring around and doing architectural sites and sharing that kind of inspiration, with them. I mean, I think that was really great. I think knowing when I made it, Darby was the one that encouraged us to enter projects. We don't do it very often because we get so busy. We sort of get bogged down by the day-to-day. So taking the time to take photographs and do things. And I mean, it's nice to be recognized. It feels good to be recognized by your peers. But to me, it's really about, making other people happy, making the clients happy. When you have clients that you see 10 years later and they're like, I still love what you did for me. Or, you have clients that you did a house for and they call you back and say, we're doing it's a different stage of life and now we need you to help us do something different. And so I think the reward for me is really the gratification that I see from my clients you know, their happiness once it's finished, a sign that we did a good job, and then, you know, just being able to share that with my team. I mean, making other people happy that's what makes me happy.
That's amazing. All right, the next question.
Okay.
You're super cute.
What sacrifices have you had to make to grow your business and career? I don't know. I think in the beginning, where I would, you know, as a young designer, you know, you meet people whenever you can, if it was on the weekends and the evenings and, you know, those different things. But I would have to think about sacrifices. I wouldn't, I'm not someone who's willing to give up certain things to, you know, my family always came first.
Yeah.
And I felt like if, I don't know. I don't know that I really, there were days, like when it got really, really busy and, you know, I would be working 10, 12 hours a day. Probably my work-life balance was not the best. That maybe was probably the biggest sacrifice. So in the last probably 5 years, I've really had to focus on that, like learning how to delegate, you know, that was a big thing 10 years ago. Just when you're a designer and you have your own firm, sometimes it's really difficult to delegate, you know, to have confidence and to kind of let your team take the lead on certain things. And I think, I think now it's, you know, I don't necessarily take appointments on weekends. I try and be home at a normal time. You know, It doesn't always work that way.
Yeah.
But I have, I've always tried to remain somebody who has a level of, you know, the things that are most important. Family always comes first, even with my employees. It's really, you know, I would never put my business before those kind of things.
Now that you're saying that it's hard to delegate, when did you feel as a business owner that was starting their own firm, when you felt that you needed to hire another designer?
I mean, we had our bookkeeper that we shared together, and that was always important from the beginning. And then I want to say within 5 years, I hired an actual, you know, a degree designer, another interior designer. And, you know, it started kind of part-time, and then you just get to a point where you can't do everything. You know, there's so much to do that you just can't do everything. And so bringing somebody else on to help lighten the load a little bit, because during that time, you know, I mean, I was 9 months pregnant and I was driving to College Station and, you know, doing all that stuff. And I wanted to be able to also be there, you know, at the kids' field day and do different things. I wanted to be able to manage, so I had to have help. And so I think that's something that, I think probably 5 years in, I'm trying to think, maybe 8 before I hired a designer. It's hard to remember, because I've been doing this for a long time.
That's amazing.
But I think you get to a point where you can't do everything, and I think you have to acknowledge that, like, you know, I think that was probably one of the bigger challenges, is that learning to delegate. You know, learning how to relinquish control, you know, of things. You know, because when you work on your own and you have a vision and you know, being able to trust that vision to other people and to, but also being able to open up your field a little bit to accept, other information and other, and so I think it's really helped grow the business where you have this great team where we all can now, it's like, we work on everything together and we all have comments, and it's never there's room for everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you get better is, you learn how to expand that team and really trust that team. And we don't have a specific identity. I think a lot of firms might have a specific identity, or they have a certain sort of trade mark as far as a design style or things like that. And I do feel like that's something we do very well. It's really about meeting the client and finding out what's important to them, what's special to them. It's not about my design style. It's what can I find in them that maybe they don't see yet, and so, we start from a place of, show me something that's important to you, or show me something that you like in your home, and it can be anything. You can draw inspiration from anything, and, whether it's a piece of art that someone has, or for me, for one, like a placemat, they had placemat that they had been given as a wedding gift. I mean, there are so many different things, and so you can find something that means something to somebody, and then you can develop a whole concept off this one thing.
Yeah.
And then it becomes this place that people really feel comfortable in, that it speaks to them because it's
their space.
Yeah. And I think I sort of deviated from the question a little bit.
I actually can't remember the question, but your answer was pretty good. Okay, well, you're ready for the next one.
Okay. Let's see here. Can you describe your company's mission and core values? Man, I get some hard. Our company's mission and core values. It is really important for us. I won't. I could pull up our website and tell you verbatim what our company's mission, but really it's about meeting people where they're at, and the design, and taking, being able to take them from the initial steps of, doing a site analysis on a particular project, whether it's a remodel or an addition or a new construction, or helping someone pick a paint color, sort of figuring out what that, the process is, meeting them there, and then navigating through to the end and helping them. And core values, it's just, I don't know, integrity. It's, your name, your reputation is everything.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that no matter the project, no matter the size of the project, that we always put our best foot forward, and we always do our best, even if it's something really small. We strive to be accessible to everybody, so that if someone's, calls up and says, I just need help picking a paint color, well, we can definitely do that, and that can be just as important for somebody and mean just as much to somebody as somebody who hires us to design a house, or an addition, or, a bathroom, or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think always giving each project the attention it deserves, no matter the size of the project or the budget of the project. It doesn't matter to me if someone has $1 million or $500. I think you can still make a big impact.
Yeah. And improve their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's see. Share with me a big mistake. Oh man, I didn't want this question. Share with me a big mistake during your career as a design, architect, builder, business owner. How did you solve it, and what did you learn from it? This is a question that I sort of feel has different, I think, I think because we're human, right? We're always going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
We all do. And I think it's more about being able to recognize that there was a mistake made, being able to acknowledge it, no matter how small or big, and then you remedy it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, I think it's more about how you handle it versus whether or not it happens. Like, it's gonna happen. Everybody's gonna make a mistake, whether it's myself, a team member, but I would say to any designer, anybody in the profession, any architect, you know, we're always going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
We try not to. But
actually, that question was one of the the goals, to be transparent with the world, because everything that you see in social media are just like magazine pictures, that everything is perfect and look at that, it's beautiful, and nobody knows what is behind.
Right.
Nobody knows what the designer was working behind, and how everything was solved.
Right.
At the last minute, because we had to solve something, or the ceiling was falling down, or we have, I don't know, like water everywhere. We don't know.
Right.
So,
I think that's the biggest thing, is learning how to just recognizing when there's something as soon as you see it. Like, as soon as something happens and you're like, this isn't going to turn out the way we wanted, or, you know, then we all reconvene and you sit down with the client. And, you know, obviously there have been errors that we've made on our part, whether it's a paperwork error or anything. Like, stuff happens, and we take full responsibility for any error that we create. You know, that's something that, you know, it just comes right out of the bottom line, you know, because you have to fix it. And I would never not fix it. And I think sometimes when there are certain scenarios that happen, or maybe it's not necessarily a mistake, but especially in remodeling, you know, something's always going to happen. It can be little. I think one of the biggest things is understanding how to set up those budgets and work with the contractors, and setting up contingency line items. Like, here's a line item that's just a what if, or, you know, what happens when we open that wall and I can push my finger through your 2x4 because there's termite damage. It's happened. And, you know, so things like that, where it's maybe not necessarily a mistake, it's just being able to anticipate that not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is going to just be smooth, and, you know, it's there. You're going to get down and dirty sometimes. And I think that's when, you know, having a great construction team, you know, being able to have that open relationship with a client and just be super transparent and say, hey, we all have to come to the table today because we found something that we weren't anticipating, and we're problem solvers, you know. You know, having a great team, whether it's just a design team, contractor, all of those people together, everybody has to come together, and that's the most important part. Everybody comes and we create a solution, and, you know, when you're all finished on the ends, then, you know, you find the best solution, and it's not necessarily the least expensive solution, but it's, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive one either. You just have to come to the right solution.
Do you remember an anecdote that you can share with us of a specific project that you can remember, even if it was like something small, or it was like something like, oh my God, that was a big thing, that you can remember that was a challenge and a mistake that was well solved, and you can remember?
I think this was an issue where we had some countertops installed, and it was a quartzite. And sometimes this particular quartzite happened to somehow leach moisture. And, you know, the subcontractor and I and the clients, you know, we all had to kind of sit down and get together. And it was really, you know, we all came together and helped pay for parts of it. And, you know, just to, we had a team come in to, we had to have some slabs recut, and, but really it was one of those, it was really about problem solving. So it's not, it happens. I mean, but mistakes are, you learn from the mistakes to not do it again. Whether, paperwork mistakes are easier. It's an easier, you see the mistake easier, and it's easier to remedy. Double check your numbers, cross your T's and dot your I's kind of a thing. Those are avoidable mistakes. It's not that they won't happen, but when they do happen, you look at how it happened and, don't, try not to make that mistake again. But the things like that sometimes happen, where it's not necessarily a mistake on someone's part, but something happens, So here was a situation where something happened to this material. Everyone could see that something was happening. No one really was able to identify what the problem was. So, the subcontractor and I got together because we knew it wasn't right, and the client had paid for these beautiful slabs, and so we had to figure out a solution. So we brought in, a third party to come in, and and he was able to get whatever this was that was leaching in the material and seal it up and work on it. And we found a solution that was, amiable for both the owners and for us. And, we all helped each other out. We all pitched in. We all worked overtime and, did free labor. And, but you do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, again, it comes back to that integrity and the importance of your reputation. And knowing that if a client's not happy with something, that you're gonna fix it. Like, you're gonna be there to work through a solution with them that leaves them happy in the end, and feeling that you did your best. That
And sometimes you are a pretty good, solver. So that's why people is recommending you, because they solved this way and they took care of that, and because that matters for them. I want that you hire them because they are pretty good doing this. So that is a pretty good source of recommendation, or the reason because a lot of clients have recommended you guys.
I think, knowing that, we're a liaison, not just for the contractors, but also for the clients. Like, when you're working with somebody, our job is to create this wonderful, beautiful, functional product for a client. And, the builder or the contractor is the one that's going to help us get that product to where we need it to be. And so we have very high expectations on a job site, but we're very open with our builders. We meet with any builder that we work with. If we don't know them, we love to meet new builders, but we'll invite them to the office. We'll ask them to come and sit down and let's talk about how we work, and know that, I'm going to be on a site, and if I recognize something that, maybe we missed an outlet somewhere, we did, something like that, our team is going to be there to help you. Because in the end, we all want that. We don't want to have a situation where, we get the fridge in, oh my gosh, it's, where's the water, and stuff like that it happens. I've seen it happen on sites. We get called in occasionally to fix problems that happen on other sites. And, in a way, it's like, it's a nice compliment that people call us because they know, well, hey, we'll call Jameson because they'll fix it, or they'll figure out a way to fix it. And so, we've done that quite a few times. And, so it's always good. You feel bad because they may have had a bad experience, but in the end, they're happy.
Yeah.
So
awesome. All right. Well, now if you can share with us, or just like give an advice to future designers, students that are going out of the college, and I know that you love to share all of your experience with all of them. What you can suggest them? What makes an interior designer the best over the great? So they can be great, but they can be the best. So what you can suggest them?
I think it's a really good thing for young designers to expand their degree in a way. If they're thinking being a business owner is very different than just working for a company. And some people are very happy working for companies, and they enjoy being in that role and then being a business owner can be a very different role than being a designer. But if you think you want to be a business owner, then you should take some, get a minor in business, get a minor in accounting, like learn some different strategies that will help you along the way, because the design is there, but managing a business is a very different thing. So the other thing is, learn how things work and learn how things go together, whether you do volunteer work with Habitat for Humanity or you do things like that. Learn how things are put together. Understand what that means. We have great fabricators, great showrooms, great tradespeople in town, getting different perspectives, working for different companies, understanding all these different elements and how they come together. But yeah, I think reach out to people, communicate to people. When you send a resume, send a cover letter, follow up with a phone call, follow up with an email. Ask if you can shadow. And most designers I know are happy to have someone follow them around for a little bit. And, it's a fun experience to show people, what a day in the life of, somebody like us can be, where, this morning I was on 2 different job sites. I was at a AIA talk luncheon and then here, and, you don't ever have the same day twice. Very rarely are you just sitting in the office doing paperwork. And I think it's funny. One of the things I told people when they would interview with us is don't show up to work with heels on, or don't show up in a, we're going to be on a, job site where, this is not the frills and fun and all of that kind of stuff. It's, so I don't know. I think being able to have fun, being able to ask questions, having confidence in their abilities, being open to learning, being open to, constructive criticisms, asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to offer options if you see something that can be done better. Just because you're young doesn't mean you don't have good ideas, I think learn how to do the basics. Learn how to draft, like really draft, not just a program that does all the drafting for you, but understand how to draft, how to build, how to, software is great, but it doesn't always do the job that you need it to do in communicating with people.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all your experience with us. I think that, just watch all the videos that we have here, because as you shared your experience, we have amazing stories also. And if you can share with us your website, how people can reach you out, your Instagram, whatever that you can share to people to reach you out, just
that would be great. You can find us at jamesonddesigngroup.com. You can find us on social media, Instagram and Facebook, and
a good email to
info@jamesonddesigngroup.com. That'll get you to everybody, and all the right people and all the channels to get to me or get to anybody on our team. And we'd love to help you out and talk to you about your project.
Awesome. If you can follow them on Instagram, you can check all of the amazing projects that they have been doing. The website, I'm sure that you have a portfolio there.
Yeah, we have a portfolio on our website.
That was amazing. Thank you so much,
you are
Amy,
so welcome.
for sharing this with me. And I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.